what do you think is within the design process, whether you're building from scratch or just redesigning your kitchen, remodeling, what part of the design process do you come in with appliances and plumbing?
So, you know, when you're talking about initial plans, you know, you're going to go to an architect, you're going to go to your builder, and they are going to start drawing up plans for you. It's not until you start to kind of get into cabinetry and then also your rough plumbing. So rough plumbing is anything that goes into the walls, and that corresponds with any of the plumbing that you see on the outside of the wall. So you're going to have to make those choices before they seal up the walls. So plumbing is going to come first. Any plumbing, you know, shower heads, faucets, any of that stuff, before they seal up the walls, they're going to need to know your choices for that. So a lot of people put this stuff off, and then they come in and they're rushing through it, and their contractor's like, I need it now, and, you know, they make quick choices. Yeah. And with plumbing, especially if it's a specialty finish, it can take 6-8 weeks to get a specialty finish in. So you have to make sure that you leave enough lead time to get those items in.
That was the other question. I mean, cabinets are always going to be, some are 8 to 12, some 8 to 16, if it's coming from Italy. Do you have anything that takes longer than 6 to 8 weeks?
It's only plumbing stuff. Appliances are quick. Appliances we can get in a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, so you would suggest planning your appliances and your plumbing when you're doing your cabinetry, architecture and design.
Yep, and usually your designer or even your contractor will alert you. The problem is that sometimes they don't give you enough in advance. So I recommend, you know, once you have your rough plans done, come in and at least start looking and have like an initial appointment with us and get an idea of what you like, so that if you need to act fast and your plumber or your contractor comes back and is like, okay, we finished earlier, I need these now, you can already have some of those decisions made.
Yeah. So I have a question about what is your favorite tech kitchen that you've ever done, or tech bathroom, or both? Do you have a favorite one that you've been a part of?
A favorite tech kitchen or bath? I mean, that's
the most high-tech one.
The most high-tech one. Well, I have done a whole Gaggenau kitchen, and as I showed you, Gaggenau is amazing. It's insane. It's beautiful. But anything where stuff is hidden and built in, and you walk into a kitchen, the Miele Knock to Open was in a kitchen that I did with the Gaggenau items. So you can mix brands when stuff is panel ready like that. So to have the Knock to Open, and then we did a custom modern air hood, and their hood looked very futuristic, and, you know, and the cooktop was built into the granite. I mean, everything was just clean and simple, and, you know. Yeah,
I mean, you kind of hit on another question that I had, which was, do you suggest mixing brands? I find like people are allergic to that. They just don't want to, you know, they think it might ruin their kitchen, and then, you know, even though they're totally not interested in selling, they think, oh, if I wanted to resell this to a buyer, they wouldn't like it. So what's your advice on that?
In my opinion, it is like nails on a chalkboard. Mixing brands for me is like nails on a chalkboard. Unless, and this is the only exception, unless you're doing panel ready. So let's say you were doing a Sub-Zero refrigerator, but you wanted to do a Gaggenau cooktop and all
Gaggenau.
Yeah,
awesome. And you say panel ready, meaning it's got the
custom panel on it.
It's a stealth.
Right. Like so you wouldn't even tell what brand it is until you opened it up. So let's say you wanted to do all Gaggenau oven, cooktop, but you liked Sub-Zero refrigerator because that's the best you can get, and a Miele dishwasher because that's the best you can get. And I would tell you, oh, that's okay, as long as the as long as the refrigerator and the dishwasher are panel ready. So as long as those two items are panel ready, you're good to go. It's not until we start having all these different handles and all these different looks that it will look hodgepodge together. Your kitchen will not look unified. And when you're spending money on a kitchen, doesn't matter the amount of money, you want it to look like it flows.
Right, of course. So.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So everything obviously moves in trends.
Uh-huh.
How long do you think a trend typically lasts you know, you start seeing like maybe there's like a color shift or like there's like a reemergence of people really want to do a little bit more of a mid-century, just with your background and all these
Like the
different
brass
types of
hardware.
designs.
Yeah.
When are you like, okay, you're good for about maybe 2 years, 3 years, but then you should start to consider
Something
switching
else.
to kind of get the best bang for
Yeah.
your buck or to be ahead of the curve?
So I think that with kitchen stuff, because it is so expensive, I know that, you know, kitchen manufacturers don't update and don't redesign their line. Sometimes at 10, 12 years, that item can be the exact same. And there's a reason for that because, you know, remodeling your kitchen on the higher end, $30,000 to $50,000 just for appliances.
Sure.
Sometimes more, depending on, you know, how many kitchens you have, if you have a butler's kitchen, whatever you might have. So the kitchen, I say that it tends to flow more around cabinetry and granite. And so, you know, stone, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have like a brand that seems to capture a wider audience than most? Like if a viewer came on and you're like, you know, I don't really have like the biggest budget in the world, but I really want it to last. I guess the best bang for their buck, like a safe bet that will last the longest, that appeases the widest audience and isn't
Right.
so like designer niche, but like this is a safe bet.
Yeah.
This is gonna run you a long time.
right.
Is there something that kind of comes to mind on the showroom floor?
You know, Thermador, which is a nice mid brand. It's not the lowest and it's not the highest. It's a nice mid brand. I really love their brand. It's not overly one way or another, not overly traditional, not overly modern. It's just a good solid middle. Bosch is also a great brand, although it tends to run a little bit more towards the modern side. So, you know, you have to know that. And a lot of times kitchen appliances will be, unless they offer, you know, like with Wolf, they offer a traditional, transitional, and contemporary line. So those three, but most brands, this is the look, this is what you get, you know.
Sure.
So I could recommend Thermador's a good middle, but it's still going to be, it's again not super high, not super low. For the lower end, I would say, you know, a GE would be a good line where you're going to get a good solid product and have you know, a nice consistent look.
Yeah. So
And quality.
along with the kind of the trend line, I just wanted to get your take on it because you really know. Do you think that there will be a point where the closed kitchen comes back because there's just so much tech going on in the kitchen that nobody uses it really anymore? So you know, because the open kitchen. So kind of like, you know, there'll be people just kind of saying, "Oh, remember when, you know, we used to all hang out in the kitchen?" Or like someone going into a house that actually has an open kitchen, being like, "Oh, you're totally old school. You have a
open."
Yeah.
I do see that, especially for a more affluent crowd who does not cook or has somebody else using their appliances and cooking with their appliances.
Mhm.
I could see that they would not want to, you know, have that exposed. That's almost going to be more like a commercial style, like to be heard and not seen, or to be, you know.
Yeah.
But for, you know, there are a lot of people who really do love and enjoy cooking, and it's the heart of their home.
Sure.
So I think it just depends on, you know, it depends on a couple things. But there are some families who don't cook at all, and there are some people who, you know, just buy their appliances for looks. And for those people, I would say, yeah, closed kitchen could probably be something that they would be okay with. But for somebody who really, really loves to cook, and it's the heart of their home, that trend I think will continue, where it's open, so inviting, so you smell the food.
How would you advise someone who's like a modern mid-century with no budget?
Mid-century modern with
No budget.
No budget. I
Yeah.
would say Fisher Paykel.
Okay.
Fisher Pinkle?
Paykel.
Pickle.
Fisher Paykel.
And that is a brand out of New Zealand. Very clean. They're the ones that make the dishwasher drawers. Very simple, but their stuff is beautiful. Would fit perfect in a mid-century modern home and a good entry point.
Yeah, and they have do they have an app that's fully integrated and everything?
There's this not as much integrated. I mean, but They do have the dishwasher drawers, which are forward thinking. They have a built-in refrigerator at a height that nobody else can get into, which is nice. If somebody's super, super techie and they want a line, I would say probably Samsung. Samsung or LG are going to be your two that are going to be really, I mean.
That was my next question. Someone who's like, I don't care, I just want to literally do as much from my phone as possible.
Yeah, Samsung or LG is going to be a good, or GE, like
or
we
GE.
talked about, because they have the voice activation. So.
Okay. What about someone who's kind of a big chef, very traditional, just wants like the cutting edge of tech, but doesn't really care if they can do it. They're in their kitchen anyways. They don't necessarily need a phone. It would be nice maybe leaving the office and having your oven turn on for you, but that's about it. What's a good
Wolf
for the chefs?
Wolf Sub-Zero, hands down. For somebody who really loves to cook, you can't get anything more dependable than Wolf. And their tagline is actually predictably delicious results. Because you have more control of your cooking surface with Wolf Sub-Zero than you do any other brand. From the high heat to the low heat, which if you cook, you know, and the ovens perform amazing, that would be my number one choice.
Okay.
Sub-Zero owns Wolf?
They're all under the same brand. Okay. Sub-Zero purchased Wolf. Wolf was actually a commercial brand.
Okay.
And then Sub-Zero took them over and revamped the whole line, and now it's known for quality.
Okay. And then what about a landlord who's revamping an entire building that thinks, okay, I'm just gonna do as techie things and I'm gonna market this as a smart apartment. What is a good brand for the landlord who's doing that?
For a landlord, I would probably go with GE. It's
and
affordable, dependable.
Trying to you want to keep your margins wide open, so you don't want to get something that's priced too high.
Yeah.
But you're trying to crunch numbers as if for your investors.
Well, yeah, especially if you're doing multi-units, I would go with GE. GE is going to be the entry level price point, or again, GE or Samsung. But it's going to give you all those features. Nobody gets as techie as GE, Samsung, LG. At that price point.
Yeah.
If you were looking at a little bit higher, then I would say Bosch or Genair. If you were looking, if it were a little bit more luxury. But if you're just looking for, something that's good, stable, and that's going to get you that, that marketing power of having something that's techie but at a good price point, GE, LG, or Samsung. If you want a brand that's going to be, if I could sell everybody Wolf Sub-Zero, I would sell everybody Wolf Sub-Zero, because it is, first of all, I've been to both factories, I've seen them made. Their quality is amazing. It's all US made. There's in Phoenix, Arizona, and Madison, Wisconsin. It's actually a cool story. So Sub-Zero started, the person who started Sub-Zero back in the early 1900s, his son was diabetic, and he started by making a freezer box to keep the insulin longer for his diabetic son. And it ended up expanding and growing into this brand, and that's how it's still a family-run business, and the quality of it, they test it out to last 20 years. They want something to last 20 years. We have people come in replacing their Sub-Zero refrigerators after 30 years, not because they're broken, but because they're outdated. 30 years for a refrigerator is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, because working from property management, we get these refrigerators, and
that's one thing you guys should really talk, and that's hopefully where I can come in and be an asset, but talk to your, landlords who are planning on holding property for a long time. It's better to spend a little bit more, let's say bump you up into Bosch or something, instead of going with a KitchenAid, bump you up into Bosch, somebody that's known for having something quality that's going to last you longer, because otherwise you're going to end up replacing it sooner and you're going to actually spend more.
Yeah.
So you do get what you pay for, and let's be honest, tenants are not easy on stuff like that.
Okay, well, I'm going to send you off to Beverly Hills, right? If you have a client, and thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Do you guys have cards?
Yeah.
We do, and also I just want to tell them maybe where they could find you. I'm going to put on the video also.
So You can find me here at PIRCH in Glendale. We are right underneath Bloomingdale's at the Glendale Galleria, right next to the Americana. You can also reach out to me at my email, rene.sweney@pirch.com. That's rene.sweney@pirch.com. And then phone number 480-390-4355.